In this ever-changing world, we all face hurt. Sometimes through careless words, unfair actions, or simply the feeling of being misunderstood or left out. These emotional wounds, if left unhealed, can quietly build up, slowly wearing down our peace of mind. Buddhism does not promise a life without pain, but offers a path to rise above suffering with compassion and clarity. By turning inward, nurturing kindness, practicing mindfulness, and living with moral discipline, we can develop a deep inner strength, one that allows us to remain calm and steady, no matter what life throws our way. This isn't about withdrawing from the world. It's about learning how to walk through it with grace and resilience. It's the path of awareness, where we stay grounded amid gain and loss, praise and blame, joy and sorrow. And in doing so, we create the space for true freedom and lasting happiness to bloom, right here, in the heart of everyday life. In the journey of spiritual cultivation and practicing the teachings of the Buddha, the very first principle a sincere practitioner must grasp is the establishment of clear purposes, both in the spiritual and worldly aspects of life. The Buddha once taught, "Your work is to discover your work, and then with all your heart to give yourself to it." This profound statement is not merely a moral suggestion. It is a guiding light for those walking the path of liberation. When we live without a clear purpose, our mind becomes like a rudderless boat adrift at sea. The winds of life can blow us in any direction, and we may end up lost, unsure of where we are headed. But when a practitioner sets a clear purpose, knowing exactly where they wish to go, then no storm, no matter how fierce, can shake the direction of their inner vessel. In Buddhist thought, purposes are not driven by selfish desires or material gain. Instead, they are moral compasses aimed at cultivating compassion, wisdom, and the ability to let go. A practicing Buddhist should begin each day by reflecting upon their purpose. It doesn't have to be anything grand. It could be as humble and meaningful as, "Today I will be kind. Today I will keep my mind calm. Today I will listen with my heart." These simple purposes are the very bricks that build a foundation of peace and eventual liberation. By holding firm to such wholesome goals, one plants seeds of goodness deep within their consciousness. Staying committed to your purpose is what helps a practitioner endure hardships and inner conflict. In moments when the mind wavers, simply recalling why one began this journey and why one chose the path of Dharma can bring immediate clarity and strength. In the Dhammapada, the Buddha teaches, mind precedes all mental states. Mind is their chief. They are all mind-wrought. If an impure mind a person speaks or acts, suffering follows him like the wheel that follows the foot of the ox. If with a pure mind a person speaks or acts, happiness follows him like his never-departing shadow. From the experience of practitioners throughout the centuries, we know that when one's purpose is well established, the mind becomes more stable and grounded, like a monk who wakes every morning at 4 a.m., chants the sutras, meditates, and performs daily duties, all rooted in a single, unwavering goal: to move closer to enlightenment. Without purpose, one may easily lose discipline, become distracted by the world, and falter in times of hardship. But with a clear purpose, every action becomes meditation, every word a sermon, and every thought a seed of mindfulness. Purpose is not only a destination, it is also the energy that sustains the journey. Even lay practitioners, immersed in the demands of work and family, can live a life of deep practice by establishing a clear goal: to be mindful, to cultivate loving kindness, to act with integrity. When the goal is clear, every moment becomes an opportunity for practice. A meal prepared with love, a calm word offered during conflict, a kind gesture in daily interactions. All are expressions of the inner path. Yet, goal setting is not a one-time act. It is a continuous reflection, a subtle recalibration. Each stage of life, each new challenge, and each inner transformation asks us to revisit our purpose. Is it still relevant? Is it still in harmony with the Dharma? Does it require adjustment? This is the difference between a practitioner and the worldly mind. The practitioner lives deliberately, not by habit or unconscious flow. To effectively set goals, a practitioner may follow 4 steps. 1. Reflect deeply on the heart's true needs and longings. 2. Test those longings against the Buddhist teachings to ensure they're aligned with right view. 3. Define clear, achievable, and virtuous goals. 4. Commit to consistent practice and regularly review one's progress. When practiced this way, each step on the spiritual path becomes meaningful and joyful. Ultimately, setting clear goals is not just a practical strategy. It is a spiritual discipline. It helps us overcome inertia, face our wandering thoughts, and build perseverance. When a noble goal is etched into the mind, it becomes a lamp that never fades in the dark, a guide through ignorance toward awakening. There is a line from the scriptures that I reflect upon every day as a practitioner. No one can hurt you unless you allow it. This teaching, while simple in words, holds within it a boundless strength, the strength of mastering our own reactions, the strength of becoming untouchable. This is the second principle that every spiritual seeker must deeply embody, to become untouchable, not in arrogance or isolation, but in the quiet, enduring way of maintaining inner peace despite the storms of life. When others insult, criticize, or try to wound us, the source of our suffering lies not in their actions, but in our own reactions. In worldly life, we cannot avoid harsh words, unfair situations, or hurtful actions. But a true Buddhist does not respond to pain with hatred or seek revenge for suffering. The Buddha taught, "You will not be punished for your anger, you will be punished by your anger." This means that when we allow anger to consume us, we are the first to suffer from its fire. A mindful practitioner understands that anger, hurt, and negative reactions are great obstacles to peace and liberation. To become untouchable, the practitioner must first learn to pause. When someone speaks harshly or tries to provoke us, rather than reacting with defensive words or anger, we take a deep breath, return to the present moment, and ask ourselves, why am I angry? Did their words truly reach the core of who I am, or are they merely expressions of their own suffering? In taking control of this moment, we protect our inner peace. Yet, being untouchable does not mean becoming cold or indifferent to the world's suffering. On the contrary, it reflects a strong inner foundation and profound compassion. A seasoned practitioner knows that most harmful actions come from pain, ignorance, or a lack of understanding. When we see this clearly and respond with loving kindness, we no longer see others as enemies, but as fellow beings who are suffering. I once witnessed a Zen master being insulted rudely by a passerby. The master calmly placed his palms together and said, "Thank you for helping me see myself more clearly." The man was stunned. He expected anger and retaliation, but received serenity. This serenity came not from weakness, but from deep practice, a peace born of mindfulness, compassion, and insight. We can cultivate the same resilience in everyday life. When criticized, instead of reacting, we might ask ourselves, does this feedback help me grow? If yes, I thank them. If not, I let it pass like the wind. When faced with injustice, we can question, do I want to add suffering to my heart by holding on to anger? Or do I choose to let go and keep my peace? The answer is clear. We always have a choice. Becoming untouchable also means setting boundaries. It means not allowing others to control our emotions or drag us into cycles of negativity. A true practitioner stands like a mountain, calm like a lake, and flows like a river, but is not easily disturbed. When the mind is strong, we realize that what others say about us does not define us. Their perception is not the ultimate truth. We do not need to prove, defend, or protect the ego. Because we know who we are, we trust the Dharma, and we are strong enough to smile through life's storms. On the path of Buddhist practice, no one can avoid moments of being insulted or facing harsh words from others. This is an inevitable aspect of life, where each person carries unhealed suffering. The third principle of spiritual cultivation, how to respond to insult, is a vital key that helps preserve inner peace, cultivate compassion, and deepen wisdom. The Dharma does not promise to remove all slander from the world, but it gives us the power not to be swept away by it. Words of insult, whether from a stranger or a loved one, can pierce deeply into the heart if we allow them to enter without awareness. A practitioner must learn to see through the surface of those words. Do they truly reflect who we are, or are they merely the expression of another's pain? The Buddha taught, hatred is never appeased by hatred in this world. By non-hatred alone is hatred appeased. This is a law eternal. When we respond to insults with loving kindness, we not only protect ourselves, but may also help dissolve the suffering in others. A vivid example is found in the Anguttara Nikaya, where a Brahmin harshly scolds the Buddha. The Buddha simply smiles and asks, if someone offers a gift to another, but the gift is not accepted, to whom does it belong? The man answers, to the giver. The Buddha replies, so it is with your words. I do not accept them, thus they return to you. This response demonstrates not only wisdom, but also profound inner freedom. Insult only causes pain if we identify ourselves with it. If our mind is like clear water, a stone thrown in will ripple, but eventually settle. If our mind is muddy, the same stone will stir up all the darkness. Therefore, the practitioner must maintain a clear mind through daily meditation, reflection on non-self, and honest acknowledgement of emotions without attachment. Emotions are real, but they are not truth. Others' words reflect their state of mind, not our worth. In practice, when insulted, you may apply 4 steps. 1. Breathe deeply and stay mindful. 2. Reflect. What suffering is behind the other's words? 3. Recognize your emotions and refrain from reacting. 4. If necessary, respond with calm or compassionate silence. A reply born of inner peace often has more power than loud retorts. Over time, practicing this will make you a person whom even the harshest words cannot wound. Responding to insult is an art of compassion and letting go. Practitioners do not deny emotions, but they do not let emotions dictate their response. They know insult is not a measure of their worth, but an opportunity to develop loving kindness and equanimity. When you can face criticism without being shaken, you have advanced on the spiritual path. That serenity is not weakness. It is the power of an inner strength cultivated through meditation, mindfulness, and wise compassion. As we walk the spiritual path, there will be moments when we face gossip, slander, or harsh judgment from others. The 4th principle in the 10 Buddhist teachings for unshakable peace is, when someone speaks ill of you, this is a subtle yet profound challenge for any practitioner, as reputation, public perception, and others' opinions can easily disturb a mind. But it is precisely in these moments, when we are misunderstood or unjustly accused, that we have the chance to truly assess the strength of our inner practice. The Buddha once said, no one can hurt you with words unless you allow it. He also taught, be like the lotus, which rises from the mud, yet remains unstained. Words of slander are like toxic winds. If our mind is weak and lacks mindfulness, they can enter the heart like a storm, leaving us confused, angry, and eager to retaliate. But with strong mindfulness and inner stability, these words become no more than a breeze passing by the shoulder. We remain grounded, loving, and undisturbed. Practitioners must learn to let go of clinging to reputation, for fame and praise are impermanent. Today's praise may become tomorrow's criticism. If we live to please others, we will be carried by the tide of their emotions. But if we live with honesty, compassion, and ethical discipline, our actions will speak louder than any defense we offer. One way to overcome slander is to treat it as an opportunity to practice the Dharma. When someone speaks ill of us, instead of reacting, we should reflect. Is there any truth in their words? If so, we thank them for helping us see our flaws. If not, we let go of it as we would release a stone that accidentally struck our foot. Painful, but not something to carry forever. Holding on to slander is like holding a burning coal with the intention of throwing it at someone else. The first to get burned is ourselves. To maintain inner peace in the face of slander, practitioners can engage in practices such as mindfulness meditation, repentance, and dedicating merits. Each night before sleeping, we can reflect. Did anyone say anything that troubled me today? If so, we practice forgiveness, not because the other person deserves it, but because we deserve peace. Forgiveness is a gift we give ourselves. At the same time, we can dedicate merits to those who spoke ill of us, transforming karma through compassion. In doing so, our loving kindness deepens, and the mind becomes firm like a rock in a raging stream. Harsh words cannot change the truth, nor can they damage our virtue if we uphold the precepts, live truthfully, and let go of resentment. Sometimes, being slandered is even a sign that we are on the right path. In the Dhammapada, the Buddha teaches, "The fool praises the wicked and criticizes the wise. The wise do the opposite." If our commitment to the path causes discomfort for some, that is natural in a world ruled by delusion. Let us take the Dharma as our standard, not the chatter of the world. Ultimately, when our mind becomes strong, we will realize that true peace does not come from the silence of the world, but from the unwavering quiet within. On the spiritual journey, the mind is a decisive factor in every joy or suffering we experience. Therefore, the fifth principle among the 10 Buddhist teachings for unshakable peace is guard your mind. In the scriptures, the Buddha teaches, mind precedes all phenomena. Mind is their chief. They are all mind-wrought. If a polluted mind one speaks or acts, suffering follows like the cart will follow in the ox's hoof. This means that if we do not guard our mind, all our words and actions will arise from ignorance, anger, or craving, and the result will be a chain of suffering. The human mind is like a garden. If tended carefully and seeded with compassion, mindfulness, and understanding, it will bear flowers and fruits. But if left unattended, overrun with weeds of delusion, jealousy, and resentment, it becomes a dark and barren place. Guarding the mind does not mean avoiding life. It means living fully, yet with awareness. Like the lotus rising from the mud without being stained, the awakened mind remains pure amid worldly noise. Each day, our mind encounters countless stimuli, information, sounds, images, words, actions from both the outer world and our inner states. Without mindfulness, our mind gets pulled, injured, and loses its inherent tranquility. A harsh word may haunt us for days. A scornful glance may disturb us for weeks. But with mindfulness, we recognize this is just a feeling, and we can hold it gently, observe it, and let it go like clouds passing across the sky. A practitioner guards the mind through many means. Meditation to purify, precepts to build ethical boundaries, chanting to nurture faith, and reflecting on impermanence to loosen attachments. But above all, it is through living mindfully in every act, word, and thought. When peeling vegetables, washing dishes, sweeping the floor, if done with mindfulness, we are cultivating the mind. When we speak kindly or listen wholeheartedly, we are guarding our mental garden. There is a story of a Zen master who lived in seclusion in the forest. Each day, he cared for his vegetable garden like he cared for his mind. One day, a disciple asked, "Master, how do we keep our mind pure?" The master pointed to the garden and said, "See, each day I pull weeds, water, and let in the light. So too must we tend the mind daily, or weeds will cover it." The student realized that guarding the mind is not a grand effort, but a daily, humble act of care. When the mind is protected, we are less affected by slander, injustice, or difficulty. We become the gatekeepers of our consciousness, deciding what enters and what must be let go. Like guarding the entrance to a castle, not every knock deserves a response. Practitioners must learn to detect psychological toxins and have the courage to say no. At the same time, we must intentionally sow seeds of virtue, gratitude, forgiveness, faith, and joy. Every kind act, every wholesome word, every loving thought is a way of guarding and nourishing our mind. Ultimately, guarding the mind is not just a spiritual discipline. It is the root of peace. One can live amidst worldly chaos and feel as calm as in a mountain hermitage. One can hear 1,000 distractions and remain still like a mountain. This is the fruit of steady practice, a heart shaped by mindfulness and love. When we know how to guard the mind, nothing in this world can disturb the deep peace within. On the path of spiritual cultivation, no one escapes fear or self-doubt. These emotions may smolder like a hidden ember or erupt like a fierce storm that sweeps away all faith. Thus, the sixth principle in the 10 Buddhist teachings for inner invincibility is overcome fear and shame. The Buddha, not only as an enlightened one but also as a supreme teacher, offers us the way to overcome suffering that arises from within. He once said, "Fear is only the shadow of a mind that lacks understanding." Fear is one of the strongest forms of ignorance. It makes us freeze, avoid confronting ourselves, and cling to false external protections. Shame works similarly. It is a mistaken identification with flaws, past errors, or judgments, and it stunts our capacity for spiritual growth. A practitioner must face these energies directly and see their true nature as impermanent, non-self, and fully transformable through mindfulness and insight. The first step to overcoming fear is to acknowledge it honestly. Don't deny it, run from it, or rationalize it. Sit down, breathe deeply, and ask, what am I afraid of? Where does this fear come from? Is it rooted in a past memory or a projected future? Once we identify the root, fear begins to dissolve. Then, hold the fear like a mother cradling her crying child. Mindful breathing becomes a bridge that links us with the darker corners of our mind, allowing compassion and wisdom to enter. In facing shame, practice the contemplation of non-self. When the mind says, "I'm not worthy," answer, "Who is this I? Is this self even real?" According to the teachings on anatta non-self, there is no fixed self. No one is forever perfect or flawed. All things arise through conditions, causes, and effects. Understanding this, we stop measuring ourselves by rigid standards. We learn from mistakes, rise from failures, and walk forward with kindness and clarity. Practicing loving-kindness meditation, metabhavana, is a powerful remedy for fear and shame. In meditation, we send kind thoughts to ourselves. May I be at peace. May I release fear. May I see my true worth. As the heart opens to loving kindness, it becomes vast like the ocean, capable of receiving all waves without breaking. The more we practice self-compassion, the more we can forgive others and face life with courage. Fear and shame often grow in isolation. Thus, we should not walk the path alone. Seek refuge in the Sangha, the spiritual community, where Dharma friends walk the same path and offer solid support. Shared fears become lighter. Listen to pain becomes healing. The collective energy of a mindful community is like a cool stream, soothing a heart scorched by worry and self-doubt. Ultimately, overcoming fear and shame does not mean becoming numb or arrogant. It means living with the courage of a heart that understands. All emotions are impermanent, and all darkness can be dispelled by the light of mindfulness. When you face your fear instead of fleeing, when you smile at your shame rather than judge it, you have taken a great step toward liberation. Day by day, you become someone whom no situation can wound, because you have truly mastered yourself. On the path of spiritual practice, one of the most profound realizations a practitioner can have is, everyone in this life is a teacher. The seventh principle in the 10 Buddhist teachings for becoming unshakable is, see everyone as your teacher. It may sound simple, but practicing this truth requires a strong inner foundation, an open heart, and deep wisdom rooted in interdependence, non-self, and compassion. When we're caught in ego, we tend to react automatically to praise, blame, kindness, or hurt. But as our insight grows, we begin to see everyone, those who love us and those who don't, those who help us and those who challenge us, offers us a mirror. The one who praises us helps reveal our seeds of confidence. The one who criticizes shows us where pride remains. The one who angers us helps us recognize unhealed resentment. The one who moves our heart brings us into gratitude. Every person is an invitation to return to ourselves. There's a story in Zen about a master who greeted everyone, no matter how they approach him, with the words, "Thank you, my teacher." Once, a man came and shouted insults at him. Still, the master bowed and said, "Thank you, my teacher." His disciple asked, puzzled, "Master, "How can someone who insults you be your teacher?" The master calmly replied, "He helped me see where my heart still clings. For that, I am grateful." That one reply captures a lifetime of inner work. Seeing everyone as a teacher lifts us out of the victim mindset. We stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What can I learn from this?" This shift makes us more resilient. A true practitioner does not expect ideal conditions, but trains to transform every condition into practice. And a teacher in Buddhism does not always come in kind form. Sometimes they appear through betrayal, criticism, or profound loss. Yet those are the deepest teachings in patience, letting go, forgiveness, and unconditional love. This practice nurtures humility. It keeps us learning and growing. We listen more, receive more, and appreciate more. We no longer look down on others or assume wisdom comes from status. Everyone is a world, a lesson. If we are mindful enough to notice, the practitioner remembers, attitude matters more than information. One with little formal learning, but a receptive heart may gain wisdom from any situation. A helpful practice is to keep a teacher's journal. Each day, write down who taught you something. Maybe a child who tested your patience, a friend who triggered irritation, or a stranger who reminded you of impermanence. Over time, you'll find life becomes richer, not because you avoid pain, but because you transform it into understanding. Ultimately, when you see everyone as your teacher, you no longer feel alone in this life. You are always accompanied, always learning, always evolving. And that is the essence of practice. Not just walking toward enlightenment, but walking with gratitude for every footstep and every soul you meet. The 8th principle in the 10 Buddhist teachings for unshakable peace is build unwavering ethics. This is not merely a moral suggestion, but the very core of Buddhist practice. Ethics is the root that holds the tree of the mind firm against all storms of life. The Buddha taught, there is no path to peace without virtue. In Buddhism, the precepts are not prohibitions. They are guiding lights. When we uphold precepts, we choose not to harm ourselves or others. The 5 precepts, no killing, no stealing, no sexual misconduct, no lying, no intoxicants, are not only ethical guidelines for lay people, but also fortresses that protect the heart from wounds caused by greed, hatred, and delusion. A person without precepts is like a boat without a rudder, easily swayed by temptation and circumstance. But one who keeps the precepts has an inner calm even amidst life's chaos. Precepts are mindfulness in action. When we are about to speak untruthfully, the precepts pause us. When anger arises, they guide us back to awareness. Through precepts, we live with caution, responsibility, and care for those around us. Keeping precepts does not mean becoming rigid or extreme. On the contrary, the ethical person is flexible. They know clearly what is wholesome, what to do, what to avoid, and thus are not swayed by peer pressure or outer noise. They carry an inner light that guides their path. And from this arises true freedom. Freedom from guilt, regret, and remorse after wrongful action. A practitioner must learn to nourish precepts with joy. Each time we uphold a precept in a difficult moment, we should smile within. It is a sign of growth. We keep precepts not from fear of punishment, but from respect for ourselves and others. When we live ethically, others around us feel safe, trust us, and are nourished by our mindfulness. Practicing precepts also builds ethical stability in society. A family where members uphold the 5 precepts enjoys trust, love, and mutual respect. A community where people refrain from lying, harming, or exploiting each other becomes a peaceful, resilient one. Keeping precepts not only benefits us individually, but contributes to transforming our entire environment. Over time, precepts give rise to concentration, samadhi, and from concentration comes wisdom, prajna. This is a path of sila, samadhi, and prajna, the threefold training. Without ethics, the mind cannot settle. Without a settled mind, wisdom cannot arise. Thus, we must begin with the basics. Do no harm, cultivate kindness, refrain from sowing harmful seeds. From this, Every step, word, and thought carries mindfulness and compassion. With unwavering ethics, you become a person the world cannot sway. Not because you are stubborn, but because your ethical foundation is so firm, you cannot be pulled off course by gossip, temptation, or negativity. This is true inner strength, the protective armor of one walking the path of liberation. As one walks the path of spiritual cultivation, an essential foundation for inner peace is the ability to live in harmony with nature. The 9th principle in the 10 Buddhist teachings of becoming unshakable is, live according to nature. This does not imply resignation or passivity, but a deep alignment of body, mind, and environment with the natural flow of life and the laws of the universe. The Buddha said, "Nothing lasts forever. Everything changes. When we live in harmony with change, suffering falls away." To live according to nature means recognizing that all phenomena arise from conditions. Everything comes and goes, gathers and disperses, is born and dies. Each blooming spring gives way to summer, and every youthful moment is followed by aging. We suffer because we try to hold on to what cannot be held, to resist the truth of impermanence. When we live against nature, we feel exhausted, anxious, and disconnected. But when we observe, listen, and adjust our pace to nature's rhythm, we move with grace, like a river flowing around the bends of a mountain. Practice also must follow nature. Some days, the mind is calm. Other days, thoughts rush in. Sometimes meditation is deep. Other times, it feels dry. There are days full of joy and chanting, and days of inner silence. All of this is part of the journey. The practitioner does not force the mind to always be still, but embraces the ups and downs as part of the path, maintaining mindfulness and compassion throughout. Like a gardener who continues to tend the soil through every season, the practitioner cares for their heart through all moods, gently, patiently, without rush. Living according to nature also means adjusting the body, breath, and habits to support well-being. Sleeping on time, eating simply, working moderately, keeping clean surroundings, and connecting with sunlight and greenery. These small actions bring great balance. A healthy body supports a peaceful mind. If we overindulge, stay up late, or live chaotically, the mind becomes disturbed. Spiritual cultivation cannot be separated from daily life. Every step, every breath, every meal can be Dharma practice when we live in tune with nature. Another key element is accepting reality as it is, not resisting, not clinging when facing difficulty. Instead of blaming, ask, what can I learn from this? When illness arises, care for body and mind with compassion. When loss occurs, reflect on impermanence to ease the heart. Living in harmony with nature does not make us passive. It helps us respond with mindful adaptability, like bamboo bending in the storm but not breaking. The practitioner flows with life's changes without losing inner balance. Ultimately, to live according to nature is to live with gratitude. Be thankful for breath, for movement, for the chance to practice. Each morning, appreciate the rising sun, the health of the body, and the conditions that help us grow. When we live in this way, we stop complaining or demanding. We accept and honor all things as they are. That is the deepest form of living naturally. If we were to choose one kind of energy that can soothe all suffering, open a heart, and nurture lasting peace, it would be gratitude. The 10th principle in the 10 Buddhist teachings for becoming unshakable is turn gratitude into strength. In the Buddha's teachings, gratitude is not just a noble attitude. It is a form of wisdom, a powerful inner resource that allows us to walk life's path with grace, resilience, and compassion. Gratitude allows us to see what we have, rather than only focusing on what we lack. When our heart is filled with thankfulness, we are less vulnerable to criticism, rejection, or hardship. Instead, we see all things, pleasant or painful, as lessons and gifts on the path of growth. Those with deep gratitude are thankful not only for help, but also for challenges, because both foster maturity. In Buddhist tradition, gratitude begins with our parents for giving us life and nurturing us. Then it extends to teachers who show us the way, to the Sangha, who walk with us, to all circumstances, pleasant or difficult, because each one shapes our transformation. And finally, to ourselves, for our perseverance, our courage, and our steadfast commitment to the path. Practicing gratitude is a form of spiritual training. Each day, take a few minutes to breathe and reflect on what you are grateful for. Keep a gratitude journal. Write down 3 small blessings each day. Thank someone you haven't spoken to in a while. When our heart turns toward gratitude, anger dissolves, loneliness fades, and compassion blooms. Gratitude also cultivates humility. When we are thankful, we are not arrogant or self-centered. We understand that every good thing in life is a fruit of countless conditions. When drinking water, we remember its source. When eating rice, we remember the farmer, the earth, the rain, and all the effort involved. A grateful person lives with reverence, taking nothing for granted, and because of this, their heart remains open. In the face of adversity, gratitude becomes a shield. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we ask, "What can I learn from this?" Gratitude turns suffering into nourishment, wounds into fuel for growth. It is like sunlight warming barren earth, allowing seeds of kindness and wisdom to grow. Those who live with deep gratitude are not shaken by outer circumstances. They feel rich even in simplicity. They need little to be happy because happiness is found in awareness, not in possession. They walk through the world with a soft heart and strong spirit, as every step is lifted by their reverence for life. On this spiritual path, the true strength lies not in how many hardships we avoid, but in how we face them, with steadiness, compassion, and wisdom. The 10 principles shared here are not lofty ideals meant for monasteries or remote retreats. They are practical, grounded tools for daily living, ways to speak more mindfully, think more clearly, and act with integrity and peace. When practiced patiently and consistently, even in small steps, these principles help us soften our reactions, listen more deeply, and remain calm in the face of life's chaos. That is a sign of spiritual maturity, not a life without problems, but a heart that isn't easily shaken by them. May each of us, no matter where we are in life, discover this quiet strength within, and may the gentle light of compassion always guide our way, offering us refuge in a world that's constantly changing. Thank you for spending this time reflecting and walking alongside me through these teachings. I hope these principles become quiet companions for you, tools of strength, comfort, and clarity. If any part of this message spoke to your heart, I invite you to share it with someone who may need it. Wishing you peace, resilience, and the deep joy that comes from living with purpose and presence.